Hey, podcast listeners. Gossip Grid here, your guide to F1's paddock elites.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Gossip Grid, and I literally think this may be the biggest, most jam-packed pop culture episode yet. Miami gave us a ton to talk about. There was a lot of big things that I had to talk about, even if it doesn't have to do with Miami, so I'm going to talk about them anyway. So there is a lot to talk about, so buckle up, keep up, because I'm going to go through absolutely all of it. Woo! And I talked a little bit about it last week, but guess what? I'm going to talk about it again. Danny Rick went to the Met Gala, and it was incredible. His outfit looks great. He had a good time, but now we're getting all of the behind the scenes of it all. So GQ Sports was literally all over the Miami GP, but we'll get more into them later. But of course, they found the opportunity to talk to Danny Rick about his experience at the Met Gala and fangirling over Anne Hathaway. And Anne Hathaway knew who he was, and he fangirled, and I fangirled, and you fangirled, and we all fangirled about him fangirling because the Queen of Genovia deserves it. Vogue does these incredible, really short videos with some big stars every single year getting ready for the Met Gala. There's a 4-minute video of getting ready with Danny Rick going to the Met, and I could not believe that I received this gift from the pop culture gods. Getting glam with his first entire Met Gala crew. He was incredibly nervous throughout the video. He's saying that he was more nervous than he was for any F1 race because it was out of his comfort zone. And that's really wild for a guy that does thrill-seeking sports for not only his job, but also for his hobby. He ended the video, of course, there's the branding king that he is, but ends it with the sign-off of, "Thanks for helping me put on my pants for the Met. Thanks to Tom Brown for making me look cute," and ends with "Enchante," because he's the brand king that he really is. He was wearing Tom Brown. He was basically matching Jenna Ortega, which was the vibe, and he was covered in this beautiful tweed jacket and suit, which was very, very Chanel, super on theme. And his favorite part about the entire thing about working with Tom Brown is that they don't button the top button on the shirt, which is great for his big F1 neck. And big update, big news. This is so important to my entire existence. I have a Danny Rick and Harry Styles bromance update. Danny Rick was featured on a podcast on a Nova podcast interview, and he revealed he received a pleasing PR package. So he's on the pleasing PR list. He didn't know that it was called pleasing. He said it was Harry's cosmetics line, and we regret not giving them a shout out, and that it was really nice of him. But I'm going to take that as they're friends. It's going to happen. They need to meet. It's almost halfway through the year. It's on my 2023 bingo card, but Danny Rick gets Harry Styles PR, and that's just absolutely incredible to me. Esteban Ocon is continuing to pursue some type of model career. Not actually, but we saw him with a leather maker, manufacturer, really prestigious brand called Berluti, and he was modeling their Summer 2023 collection and properly their Lorenzo Drive loafers. But shout out to Esteban, and again, great pick for a brand using a driver that has a really wonderful face, charisma, personality, and brand to support your brand as well. Great pick for Esteban. Exactly, get that coin. Major League Baseball and Formula One kind of starting to have a little bit of a mini crossover. This is where we're starting to branch into the Miami vibes, but not fully just yet. So besides Brown and I's baseball jersey themed outfits this week, we got to see the lovely boys of Alfa Romeo, VB and Joe, got to go visit the Marlins last week throughout the first pitch. So I was really excited about it and created like this really adorable Instagram post, exchanged jerseys, and the post that shook me to my core as a New York girl, although I am a Mets fan, Charles at the Yankees game, throwing out the first pitch in a Yankees jersey, backwards hat and all. Charles is a Yankees boy and could be from Long Island if I didn't know that he was from Monaco. Now, it is time for us.
It's like more fitting than Charles as a Yankee boy. When you said that, because I genuinely was like, oh yeah, I mean Ferrari are the Yankees, so 100%.
Okay. He looks like a Yankee fan. Like he
put the Yankees hat backwards, and it was like every boy I grew up with. I felt like such a flat. I was like, whoa. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So apologies for the interruption.
No,
I just
and It's incredibly spot on. And now we're about to dive into the Miami fun, and it's actually a really great transition because we get to talk about the token, apparently to the world right now, F1 American driver Logan, and the token Florida boy, who I also feel like I went to, or token Florida man. I think I went to college with like 100 different Logan Sargents. But this boy was everywhere, was all over the place. He was interviewed by GQ. He was interviewed by Sports Illustrated. I gotta touch upon some of the things that he did. One of those interviews of the 10 things that he can't live without, and in my opinion, list was kind of lame, although we shared some interest. On his list was his F1 helmet, which, like, yeah, okay, you literally can't live without it, but, like, you have 10 things to show GQ. Maybe don't show your F1 helmet that literally is saving your life. He is a Heat fan, and as a Florida boy born and raised in Homestead right now, I do respect that. He grew up in, like, the prime of Wade County, LeBron, and everything, so I did appreciate that he pointed that out. I love lemonade. He shouted out Arnold Palmer. I would find literally lemonade in the desert if I had to, so I will respect Logan for that. But everyone's referring to Logan Sargent, not everyone, but GQ and Sports Illustrated kept referring to him as America's great F1 hope, and that's just a lot for me. And I cannot leave all of my F1 hope riding on Logan.
And it's a lie? F1 is this popular in America right now, despite not having, like, they didn't, that, I didn't know that. Yeah. I have a lot to process. But I also think Nicole is actually underselling her love of lemonade and Arnold Palmer. So I'll just throw in that tidbit.
Yeah, we studied abroad and I literally cried because Italy doesn't give you non-sparkling lemonade and it's horrible. But it's fine, I love Italy so much. Okay, I'm now diving into this insane celebrity list because I could not get over, and I know that I'm missing people, and I'm not going to go through all of them because we'll literally be here forever, so I'll only go through some of my favorites. So if I miss your favorite, don't get mad at me. These are only some of mine. So I have to start off with the Jonas Brothers. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe all of the Jonas Brothers were at a Formula One race. They performed. They were the performers of the Formula One race. I was not able to attend because of prior commitments, and that's fine. I did see Joe DJ in Wynwood on Sunday, and that made it totally fine. But they hung out with Alpine. There's like a really interesting video of Pierre chatting up with Joe and Nick and Kevin, and this being Nick's first Formula One race, and it's wild to see the Jonas Brothers on the grid, and I want them at every single race. More, please.
And the Jonas Brothers performed in the parking lot that we tailgate. It just needs to be said one more time.
I'm sure it was my P3, and if it wasn't, it's on the list there. But yes. Yeah, they performed at the beach. Have to just quickly shout out Shakira because Shakira is Shakira. We saw Brad Pitt and Damson Idris there, who of course are doing the movie with Lewis Hamilton, the F1 movie coming up with Lewis Hamilton with Apple TV. A$AP Rocky stopped by and visited Lewis and Mercedes on Thursday, but he was without Rihanna.
Where is Rihanna? Where is Rihanna? I get it. She's pregnant. She probably doesn't want to be in the Miami Heat. But selfishly, A$AP Rocky, you can't show up and hang out with Lewis Hamilton and not bring Rihanna and not expect me to ask where is Rihanna. Thank you.
I mean, I'm not, come on. Rihanna will make her appearance at the Miami GP in due time. It'll happen. She made it to the Super Bowl. She'll make it to this F1 Super Bowl. Tom Cruise, no surprise, hanging out with Mercedes because he's the biggest Lewis Hamilton fangirl besides literally this podcast. He was not officially part of the Mercedes pit crew, but he did get to do some practice imagination. He probably was like, let me put on a tire and help, and they let him, and they did. It also kind of ended up being this weekend the Fast and Furious PR because literally every single member, not every single member, but main characters of the Fast and Furious familia were there. Vin Diesel, maybe the new king of selfies I've ever seen because he just took a selfie everywhere, full up high, like selfie stick mode entirely. Ludacris, Michelle Rodriguez, congratulations to Lando that got to do a fast lap with her in the car. There you go. Fast and Furious literally took the opportunity to be their wonderful PR movie. LL Cool J was there, but everyone knew that because of driver intros, and I think he did a wonderful job with what he had to do, and there could be improvements, and it was America, and I loved how hyped him and Lewis were together.
Justice for Esteban Ocon, because I know there was more written on that card than his relationship to Pierre. Pierre got introduced as a race winner, and you don't do that to Esteban? You just say that he's now not fighting with Pierre? Justice for Esteban.
We respect Esteban, always justice for Esteban. I cannot say favorite podcast, F1 podcast host, because that is literally myself and Briana. Dax Shepard was also at the F1 race. He was a guest at the Alfa Romeo garage. He was there with one of his co-hosts, Perfect 10 Charlie. I just love to see that he gets to kind of jump around the garage depending on which race he visits, because I think I would want to do that too. Olympian Lindsey Vonn was there. She says she's going to Vegas too and is really excited. Pat Mahomes was there, and he literally came from the Kentucky Derby, and when being interviewed, they're like, "You were just at the Derby," and his response was, "I'm everywhere." Paolo Banchero was also at the Miami GP this year, which surprisingly enough, not surprisingly enough, funny enough, last year, this is who Martin Brundle thought was Pat Mahomes. And they had a cute little reunion, and Paolo was really excited to have Martin Brundle remember who he was this year and actually know his name. Tyreek Hill got to do some fun things at Alpine. He sat in the car. Thank God they did not let him drive the car. Will.i.am may potentially be my biggest surprise of biggest F1 fan possibly ever. He had his fit. He had his song that was the formula with Lil Wayne. He conducted an entire orchestra of violin players who set the stage of the introductions of the Drivers' Championship, and there's going to be an entire album that's Formula One themed. Will.i.am showed up and let the world know that he is into Formula One and that he's also a Mercedes fan. Not my favorite song I've ever heard, but I'll listen to the rest of the album. So again, lots of other celebrities were there, but that is just a really, really quick list of everyone that we saw. The watch brand, a big partnership with Mercedes and Lewis, the IWC Celeb Basketball game. Lewis showed up in fun pink pants, so wasn't really intense competition.
I'm sorry, you were pausing for me, and I wasn't sure if you were going to say other words. I was totally on me. Hi, editing, Briana. Have fun editing this out.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to
This was one of my favorite things that happened the entire weekend, because the photos of Lewis Hamilton sitting in front of that giant mural of his own face was just icon-only things. It was incredible, and the pink pants, this really set the tone for Lewis Hamilton Fashion Week, which is what this week really, really was at its core. And the cause, I don't think everyone's talking a lot about the brand, but the cause is really cool. That he's partnering with all of the brands that sponsor him and Mercedes to do efforts to get kids, particularly kids who grow up in lower socioeconomic areas, into STEM and engineering and math and all these areas, and introducing them to these pipelines of jobs that they could do in their future. And hearing Lewis talk about that, and that he wants to expand Mission 44 into the US and into Africa, and all the work he's doing is really cool. So at first, this was marketed as a celebrity basketball game for a watch company, and the reality is, this wasn't a public access event, but they just brought in tons of local kids, and they got to meet Lewis and hear about job opportunities, and it was really cool and random.
You're right, and that's why even basically every celebrity there was fangirling about Lewis Hamilton. I mean, Simu was like, "I get to play basketball with Lewis," and I'd be like, "Same." That would literally also be my reaction to getting to play basketball with Lewis. I mean, I would also then be like, "Where's Roscoe?" So,
and he wasn't bad. No, I'm so used to seeing, we saw so many drivers throwing footballs, doing football drills. I've seen every driver on the grid at this point shoot a basketball, and Lewis actually looks like he has shot a basketball before. And I can't tell you the joy that brought me, watching him make free throws and understanding follow through. And it just, I think every F1 driver should get lessons in, here's how you shoot a basketball and here's how you throw a football. Football, I get it, they're not American. That's not part, but basketball is an international sport. Someone help these boys who are not named Lewis Hamilton.
Charles Leclerc can hear you.
I mean, it's entertaining. Maybe it's more entertaining that they can't do it. But if if I have to watch another F1 driver go like this with a football, and you can watch us on YouTube and you can see what, but I'm basically just like shovel passing like awkwardly in front of my chest. Like, just at least like put your, shout out to Lance Stroll, can at least throw a football. Okay, that, I didn't expect to rant. We have this whole like notes of like all of Nicole's notes about Gossip Grid, and she's like, where do you want to jump in? And this was not one of those moments. I just became very passionate about this topic.
It was one of those moments. We've just, I mean, it's great. It's not wrong. Another major, huge American brand and sponsor of Mercedes, Tommy Hilfiger, released special merch specifically for this race. On my entire flight home, this is where the FOMO hit so hard for this race, is the amount of people wearing this Tommy Hilfiger merch. It was A+ branding. The sweaters are great. The hats look so good. It was with the brand Awake, a New York-based company, and was co-created with Tommy Hilfiger and Mercedes. And it's just a one-of-a-kind collection. It's expensive, but it looks just unbelievable. And it definitely gave me real FOMO. Lewis wore Tommy Hilfiger this weekend, but he was also covered in so much Louis Vuitton all weekend. His fits blew me out of the water. I can't get over all of the sparkles that he wore. Louis Vuitton, like, unbelievably hooked him up this weekend.
What was your favorite day?
I really think it was Sunday. Your comment made me go back to look at his other fits because his Louis Vuitton fits were so good. But I think I'm coming off of like a Speak Now announcement. He's rocking and him in like that whole entire sequined like black purple-ish outfit. That's it. That's all different. But there was no wrong choice for the weekend.
I think you described it when we were talking on Sunday that it was like if he was in a Star Wars Speak Now Taylor's version outfit. And it just felt like, yeah, I sent it to you screaming, like, Lewis Hamilton celebrating Speak Now Taylor's version. Because he's just covered in like, purple lines.
Writing it was like, that's going to be different. But I'm like, my brain is just screaming. I'm like, the background, whatever, it was either F1, whichever official account posted it, and had Bejeweled as the background music. And then I'm just like, I don't know if it's Taylor Swift, and I don't know if it's Star Wars, and I don't know if it's Louis Vuitton, but I think I love all of it.
But it's Lewis Hamilton, and that's
the real answer.
The Instagram account, Amazing Lou, which pulls together all the outfits and the sources, I think she collectively pulled over the course of this weekend 12 to 15 different fits from different things. And he captioned his dump today, Lewis Hamilton Fashion Week, and that is what this week was. It was Lewis Hamilton Fashion Week.
Yep.
But I think Friday outfit, which was the Louis Vuitton that sparkled when he moved, like that's like the grayish color, like that was probably my favorite because when I saw the video of him moving and it sparkling, I screamed. I was like, this is the most incredible thing I've seen him wear in years.
More sparkles. Yeah. Keith Lewis in sparkles. I love that sparkles are in fashion. This is great. It's so much fun. So now we have to talk about the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, yes, we were talking earlier. This is at Hard Rock Stadium. The Miami Autodrome is also Hard Rock Stadium, and this is an entire track built around an official NFL stadium. And no one, I think, takes advantage, and yes, they are helping put on the race, but, like, Miami Dolphins are like, if we're going to be a part of this and we're going to be here, we're going to show up and we're going to get people involved and we're going to be like, hello, we are here, we are here, we are here. There were jerseys in the conference room for every single player. There were jerseys at the end of the race. There were Miami Dolphin helmets at the end of the race. There was legitimately an entire NFL F1 driver combine that happened on Thursday that basically like F2 drivers, reserve drivers, everyone could compete in it. Surprising podium for this is you got a P3 for the official, what is being called as the F1 Miami Drivers Combine. Nico Hulkenberg in P3, Nick DeVries in P2, and not surprising to me, P1 is Pierre.
Hey, Nico Hulkenberg got a podium finally.
Oh my goodness! Live clap. I can't even sounder clap. That was wow.
I think I just broke Nicole's brain.
I did that because he did it, and there was no trophy involved.
Hey, we don't know that, but we haven't seen any content with the trophy. I hope there is. I really hope. If there's not, hey, we've given you a lot of content ideas today, my F1. Like, please, someone, like, now they're giving out that trophy for the Driver Overtake Award of the month, which is like, so I think there should, like, at Imola, I want someone to have to sit down with Nico Hulkenberg and present him with a P3 trophy for the Miami Drivers Combine. Amazing.
And in between all of the NBA playoff fun and yes, whatever sprained ankle, Jimmy Butler got dinner with Esteban. Like, of all of the players in the world that you would pick to having dinner with Esteban and vice versa, I don't necessarily think I would have necessarily say right now in this busy time, it would have been Jimmy Butler and Esteban, but I was pleasantly surprised, and it was, I wonder what they talked about. I wonder what they ordered. I have a lot of questions. And overall, I just have to acknowledge again, this is all about the eyes on the city of Miami. This is all about the eyes on the Grand Prix. Race is not about the race, which is, I think, again, something a lot of people are missing. The coverage of this race just in the American zeitgeist was absolutely unreal. GQ Sports was literally all over the place. Had individual interviews with Daniel on social, with Alex and Lewis and Oscar on their pages, on their own social accounts. There was a ton of Miami news coverage. Every single local TV station, radio station was reporting live from the race. You could not turn on the TV in Miami and not see someone at the Grand Prix. The Washington Post was covering the F1 race. So there was content there. It may have not been as sparkly, shiny as new as it was in years previous, but it's still being deemed important enough for American news media outlets to want to cover. And I think that'll continue to grow. And I think this was an interesting year of seeing GQ and an outlet really taking advantage of doing something differently besides like, it's a race in Miami and this is Formula One. They took it as, get to know the drivers. Here you go. Here's these profiles. So hopefully next year we'll see more stuff like that.
I think it's interesting. It's good to point out that American news outlets don't currently send people actively around the globe with F1. Like the way British media outlets like Sky Sports go to every race. Like ESPN just normally takes Sky Sports coverage and then they work and collaborate with people who already are going to the races. Like Nate Saunders is one of them. He works a lot with ESPN, and he might have an official ESPN title now, but that wasn't the origin of that relationship. He always went to all the races. It is abnormal for GQ to obsessively to send someone to an F1 race, like you're saying. And even ESPN, the amount of content ESPN created and interviewing all the drivers, and like that's why F1 cares about Miami. Like, so if you're ever like wondering like what makes this so different, like why is this such a big deal for F1, it's because they can get outlets like GQ to just be there and make so much content all day and talk about F1 in a way that they don't normally.
A lot of people that now know that Alex Albon is scared of flying, and that's because of GQ Sports. So again, there was a huge jam-packed gossip grid. There was a lot going on. I'm sure I missed some things. I'm sure I missed some people, but did my best, and I can't wait for the next one. Can't wait for the next Pop Culture Roundup on Gossip Grid. Thank you. And we will definitely see you next time. Thanks for listening to this segment from episode 16. Oh my gosh, of Good Walk. Don't forget to listen and subscribe for more F1 content, more F1 videos. But for real, like, you've listened to this whole video, why not listen to the rest of the podcast? It's literally just as much fun. So click here for the full thing. Ready? Ready? Click, 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 right, click, 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 click right here.